Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Surely.
This can't be it. My name is Moesha Scott, your co-host.
Mine is Nomfundo Nyakane, your host. We are so glad to have you back.
Right. So on today's episode, we are going to be talking about employment contracts, what it is, what it's for, things to look out for before signing the contract, and also interview questions that you can ask about your employment during an interview.
Oh, yeah. And before we actually get to that employment contract, we need to discuss your CV.
Right.
So we were discussing the CV. Basically, we'll be discussing with regards to common formatting mistakes that people make when they are busy typing up their CVs. And obviously, then we'll also give you tips with regards to what to make your CV stick out amongst all others.
Right. Also, introduction ideas for when you are sending your email, your CV via email. Right. Yes. So get ready to listen,
learn, and engage.
Yes.
And then please don't forget to follow us on our socials. See the below links.
Yes. And be sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment. We love hearing from you.
Stay tuned.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about employment contracts. Define what exactly is an employment contract.
Okay, with the employment contract, I just don't want to say it. So I'm going to say it how it is verbatim from Mr. Google himself.
Okay,
it's an agreement that regulates the terms and conditions of employment between the employer and the employee. Mm-hmm. It includes information on what the employer will provide and specifies what the employee is entitled to in relation to company policy, benefits, and labor legislation for the specific work performed. Do you understand it?
No, like lay it down a bit, like in layman's terms.
Hey, now I'm not a legal.
Yeah.
But in any case, according to my understanding, basically it's just a mutual, but again, it's a document of consensus. We both agree. You giving me you're giving me the job. I'm taking the job, and this is what expected from both of us, because we always assume contract is one-sided. True. I think it's just from both of us. I mean, the employer and the employee. Yeah. What is the employer you'll be giving to the employee in terms of benefits, in terms of working hours? What should the employee expect from you? Yeah. And then basically, as the employer, I think as well, it's you being clear with regards to the employee, what is it that you expect from them? That's my understanding. I don't know about you.
So it benefits both sides. That's what you're saying. So what do you mean by that?
I think it benefits both sides so that everyone is clear. Because half the time you get a job and you're so excited about getting a job and you don't ask anything about with regards to the job. Let me give you many years ago, donkey's years ago. So basically this was me at home, 19-year-old me, my very, very first job, right? So then a friend of, that's how we got jobs in the good old days, where someone will come and tell you, Guti, Lapaya, they are hiring, and then...
Yeah, we're still doing that.
Yeah.
Nepotism is a thing.
Yeah. But it was one of those things, Guti, CVs went really... Depending on the type of job, but with me, that was like in a restaurant, right? So then Urahabi came to me and said, they're hiring. She was at Magan Bin in Santon. And then I went there, loaned money, to get there. And then I got there. And then, a manager came by to say, okay, you're going to be a barrister. And then those are your people, they'll train you. And then voila. I didn't ask questions with regards to how many hours will I be working. I didn't ask questions with regards to what's my salary. I didn't ask anything. I didn't even ask how many days. I was just so excited about getting my first job ever, right? There's me working day in, day out, working day in, day out. The hours are becoming long. I'm starting at 6, I'm finishing at 4. Sometimes I'm finishing at 6. I'm not even bothering to ask anyone, is there overtime with this or nothing, right? Yeah. Come on, and here is me expecting so much money. Here is me thinking, I'm going to go shopping, right?
You worked so hard.
I did really work so hard, making those cappuccinos and the queues at Magan. I mean, the guys that know Magan Bin in the good old days in Santon, the queues used to be so long, there was no break. Oh yeah, another thing as well, we didn't even take tea breaks or lunch breaks because there was no time, absolutely no time. So it was just coming into work and then working. Yeah. Come on, and then how? In an envelope, cash, 800 Rand. That was my salary. Ne? And you must remember, it's double transport from Soweto to Santon, right? And I'd borrowed money, right? And then now the thing is, I can't even fight this man because I didn't discuss with him. I didn't ask him what he expected from me. And I never asked, I was just so happy about a job. So it's something, Guti, people need to be clear about.
So exactly when should a person be given an employment contract, or when should one ask for an employment contract?
According to what I've realized and I've learned over the years in terms of with me and the internship programs that I've been in, with me as an employee, with the many jobs that I've worked at, is that normally in employment contracts you sign it the day before you start employment, or on the day that you are employed. But you don't sign it like 2 weeks in advance or stuff like that. Yes, then offer could be made and you guys can negotiate after the interviews and stuff. But with the actual employment contract, you have to sign it a day before commencement or on the day.
Okay, so I read somewhere that there's different types of employment contracts. There's a written and a verbal.
There's a written and a verbal.
Yeah.
Most people, I've realized, right, they think, Uguti, if there's a verbal contract in place, it doesn't stand in the courts of law in South Africa. No, it does stand in the courts of law, because remember, there's an agreement. There's an expectation. You came, you offered a job, right? Someone accepted the job, right? So now they're expecting you, Uguti, at the end of the, according to whatever, whether it's a plumber, whatever job it is, right? They're expecting remuneration at the end of it all. Okay. So then you are bound by law to abide by those terms and conditions. But as well, I want to say that I don't really encourage a verbal contract, because people can deny, people can change them at any time.
Trust issues.
Yeah, trust issues. I have trust issues. Over the years, I've learned to you must gather as much evidence as you can with regards to any formal arrangement or agreement that you have with another party.
Okay, so what exactly does an employment contract consist of, and what should people highlight mostly before signing the employment contract? What should we exactly look out for?
Okay, there's a lot of factors that I've come to realize over the years that people must look out for. Job description, that job title. A lot of people are employed out there and they have these job titles, and what you are doing and what your job title says is not the same, right? And in terms of your job description, you get hired to do one thing, and then because you're capable of doing it, a lot of people find themselves unhappy with regards to their jobs, because now your job, they're piling and they're piling and they're piling, but there's no adjustments in terms of the original job, job description, your JD. So now you get to a point where you're not that. So now from the very, very beginning, you need to be clear what your job title is. Does your job title match your job description? Does your job, your job title, your job description match what you're expecting to be paid? So those are the things that you should watch out for. Another thing as well, you must read in terms of, leave days. You might undermine simple things like leave days. You don't ask how many leave days you're entitled to annually, So you need to know how many leave days you're entitled to annually. Your sick leave, you need to know the cycle. Is it a 3-year cycle? What cycle it is? But it's always best, I always say, it's something I also learned over the years, that you must get yourself familiar with the basic conditions of Employment Act.
Right.
Most of these things are highlighted there, right? So I encourage everyone to go through and learn. I know in most companies, they've got them displayed. As soon as you walk in, or in the kitchen area, in the common area, they've got them there. So you learn. So that's when you're going to find out with regards to your leave, your sick leave. And another thing as well. Yes. Yeah. And then in terms of, simple things like your working hours. You need to know what your working hours are per week. Are you working from Monday to Friday? If you're coming Saturday, Sunday, is it overtime? Are you working from Tuesday to Saturday? What is it? You need to know your working hours. Is very, very important. Will you get overtime? We find ourselves in situations where initially you didn't ask if you're going to get overtime. You don't ask because you're so excited about the job and you're so scared, and they ask you in the interview, do you want to ask us anything? You go, no, I don't have anything to ask. But those are important things now, because now you get hired, right? And then in the job, now you knock off at 4. And now there's this report that they want. And now you're working until 5, 6, right? And you've never brought the topic of overtime. And in the beginning, it's nice. You're excited, new job. But in the long run, then it won't be so nice, because now you're not, And another thing as well to highlight on is bonuses. Bonuses, 13th check, right? By law, it's not compulsory that these things are given to you. But then initially, if you think that you're entitled to these things, discuss. Medical aid, discuss these things, because now what happens is that you'll be hired in a company where your colleague is getting bonuses, right? And then your colleague is getting the 13th check, and when are you not? And then now you're thinking that, no, it's unfair treatment towards me. But however, you must remember that maybe your colleague negotiated these things for themselves. So you must always check, right? There's another thing as well, that I discovered when we were busy prepping, with regards to Surely for this week, right, was that some people don't check, especially our engineers and stuff, if there's a restraint of trade. Remember, restraint of trade is a clause that's put in your employment contract. The reason why is to protect, obviously, trade secrets within the company that you're working for. So it's the employer protecting themselves. However, then it leaves, I don't know how I would put it. We could say, put you at a disadvantage somehow, because like if you've signed a restraint of trade, then you might be forbidden to work for a competitor for maybe 2 years minimum. And that's
they said it's 2 years minimum.
Yeah, that's your livelihood. Now imagine you've studied for this, whatever that you're doing, and you can't work for 2 years.
Explain that clause to us. What clause is it?
Restraint
Do you find it in policies or in the employment contract?
Some employment contracts, they have it in place. That's the company just protecting themselves that you don't go work for the competitor. But however, I think if you see that restraint in trade clause, rather ask for an NDA. An NDA more or less works the same way, that it's a non-disclosure agreement that you won't be going around and telling the competitor, but then it also allows you as well to say that if the relationship between you and your current employer ends, then you can go look for employment somewhere else.
Okay. I also read about another clause that they add on the employment contract, but it's usually not on the employment contract. It's found in the policies that the company puts in place. It's called at will of employment. So
at will.
Okay,
yes.
So what that means, well, I know about this from where I've worked previously. So what it states is that the company or you can resign or get fired for no reason.
No repercussions.
Nothing.
So at will. So your will, my will.
So they don't need a reason. They don't need a reason for you
Seriously?
to just pack your things and leave. They don't need a notice. So that's basically that.
Sure, but then is it fair? Is it okay for the employer? I suppose it could be fair, but then for the employee, is that fair?
I feel like it works for both sides as well, because then for the company there's no repercussions. They don't need to pay you for. So it benefits the company because they don't get to pay you. Maybe you're serving notice. Right, so they just, for them it works that way.
So you basically what you're saying to me is that you're basically saying that you get paid for the number of days up to the very last day that you work.
Yes,
and
up to the number of days.
No
you
one
work.
owes anyone an explanation why.
Exactly. It also works for the employee because there's a whole process with other companies. There's a whole process when it comes to resignation. So with this at will, you can just resign whenever you feel like it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So it's one of the clauses that they mentioned.
Okay.
And then another one is binding authority. So that means an employee can bind an employer to contract or commitments without written consent. So what that means is they can just give you responsibilities that stray away from your job description without you signing from it or whatever.
So then when you're saying that, are you saying that basically the employee will have this clause in an employment contract, which at any time they can shift you from your current responsibilities and put you to something else,
or they can give you more responsibilities,
and then you can't ask Uguti, is this a promotion, and then can you please add money? Sure. I didn't know about that. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So when you are faced with such, what do you do? Like, how do you
With me, I think in such situations, like with the you said the binding one, right?
Binding
and that
the at will.
And the at will and the strains of trade and the NDAs. I think any contract that includes it. I mean, I would look for legal advice, professional legal advice, and see how it will catch in the long run. Because these things, until you're working in that specific environment for a lengthy time, you can't really know how it will affect you. Like I'm saying, with regards to restraints of aid. Of trade, when you sign for it that time or sign angayo, it's okay, right?
Yeah.
But then until it comes to the time your termination of the that's another thing as well. You must check in terms of termination. I forgot to mention that in terms of what to look for when you're looking at contracts. Termination date is very, very important. What causes a termination? What you were saying in terms of, I think it's the binary one and the other one at will. It's very, very important because now a permanent contract, obviously, is a permanent contract, right? And then they'll be obviously good to you've done something where you stole or you did something unforgivable and they have to let you go. So you're out of your permanent contract or you found another job and you just have to serve your 1 month notice or 2 weeks notice, right? But then sometimes you're so excited about the job, right? And then you get the job and you don't find out, Uguti, am I permanent? Am I project based? Is it a fixed contract?
Yes.
What is it? So then sometimes, as isn't, if you're so scared to ask, I don't know why you would be scared to ask, but for various reasons you'd be scared to ask. The date of the termination of the contract will sometimes give you a clue. Yeah. Uguti, am I on a fixed term contract? Because it will say from and to, it will have a beginning and an end. Yeah.
So it's the type of employment that you are in. Is it a full-time, a permanent, a part-time? Other people are contractors or freelancers. So it's important. That's also very important to know.
Yes. So I think in terms of that, later on we will discuss more in depth with regards to the casual worker, the fixed term contract, or the executive contract, but especially with the fixed term contract, right? It gets a lot of people confused with regards to Uguti. You're hired, and then they keep renewing your fixed term contract, right? And then when the company wants to get rid of you, it will be easy because they'll tell you that your contract has come to an end. But however, we'll get into it later on with regards to Uguti. If you find yourself, your contract has been renewed 3 or 4 times, and then now you're told it's bye-bye. You actually have a case at the CCMA, so it's something that we will look into. Same as project-based contracts, Uguti, they keep renewing it and they keep renewing it. So then obviously at the end of the day, there's an expectation from you. Even though they haven't said that you're permanent, you've got the expectation, Uguti, they're going to renew it. But then, as we go on further and further with regards to contracts, we'll be discussing not in this episode, but in other episodes where we can discuss the advantages and the disadvantages.
Okay. And then, so getting into that, who exactly needs to sign an employment contract? Like, is there a specific job that you need to be doing or a specific level that you're supposed to be working in to be able to ask for an employment contract or just sign an employment contract?
According to me, I think everybody is entitled to an employment contract. If a job is given to you, whether it's 2 days or 3 days, you need to know where you stand, because now, it could be a builder. Yeah. It could be an office manager, it could be an administrator, it could be a receptionist. You need to know, And another thing as well for me is because now, let's say you're hired as a receptionist, right? When you are thinking that you're going to be answering phones the whole day, right? And then they put you in administrative duties, right? You underperform. Now it's like you're underperforming. You're always in trouble for underperforming. But then you didn't ask. The employer is not saying anything, but then when are you doing something that is out of your job description, out of your work scope? So it's,
Okay. So are those questions that you can ask during an interview before you get the job, or is it questions that you can ask while you get the chance to sign the employment contract?
No, I think anything that in the employment contract, according to me, should be anything that we discussed during the interview. The working hours, the remuneration, whatever is discussed in the interview. Because, there's a first interview, obviously, where you're selling yourself, right? And then they call you again for probably the second interview. For the third interview, more or less, you've got it, but then obviously there's other people as well. So it's not in the bag that you've got it. But then, I think that's the opportune time to be asking all these questions. Some questions with regards to money, they're not very comfortable questions to ask. But then it's questions which you must find a way, man, of asking these things, because now if you're employed and when your expectation is that you are going to be getting £2, and then all of a sudden you don't ask, and then come month end, like I said, with regards to me and my restaurant days, and then you're getting 50 cents, and then now you wonder who you're going to ask. You already signed on the dotted line. So
that's what I believe in as well. It's a conversation that you should sit down with your HR manager. Just have that conversation, have them read it with you, go through it with you so that you can understand. And before signing it, also have a copy that you can take home and just do your homework on, do your highlights, and have, especially when it comes to the clauses, have legal advice as well before signing.
Coming off that, I think we need to do our homework as well, find an legal expert to find out, because I've heard, Uguti, some companies, they don't actually want you to keep a copy of your employment contract. Okay, I've been blessed that I've worked for, other than the times that I've worked, other jobs. But there's other jobs that I've, worked with where they did things by the book, where I'd get my copy of my contract and stuff. I've heard people saying that, Bona, it's either there's no employment contract initially, and then when you do ask for an employment contract, a paper is brought and you have to sign. You don't even read.
I actually experienced that. So where I worked previously, they didn't give us a chance to go through it. So the HR manager would come, explain it to you, just basically summarize it for you. And then what they're doing is not explaining what your job title is and what to expect and all of that. No, they're just summarizing that this is an employment contract, this is what it's about, and then just sign on the dotted line, and then you don't even get a copy. Is that allowed?
I don't think that's even legal, because if you're signing something, you need to have a copy.
Exactly.
I mean, should you choose to take them on, then you should have your copy to say, hey, these are the terms and conditions. This is what we agreed on.
Yes.
But now if you don't have a copy, I don't know how it works. And then it goes back to those employers anyway, people's IDs and, because they say you're going to steal and they want to find you. That's not legal, So you must look where you are hired. You must look how things are done. You must be given a paper that describes your job. JD
100%.
is important.
I feel like
JD
if
is
you don't
important.
get those, then I feel like that's some kind of a red flag.
Fishy.
Yeah. So I guess we've summed up everything when it comes to employment contracts. What else do you want to add?
Nothing. I think we've actually given the types of, not all types of contracts, like with a fixed, casual, executive and stuff. And we have given, in summary, with regards to what to look out for when you're signing an employment contract, the job title, the job description, your remuneration, the working hours, your lunch hours, your leave, and so we've covered most of it. So we can go on to CVs,
Yes.
curriculum vitae.
Okay, so now we are getting into CVs.
CVs. Aren't you
Yes.
telling us what CV is? Aren't you calling it by the full name? What is a CV, madam?
So I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right? So correct me in the comment section and don't drag me. Okay, so a CV is an abbreviation for curriculum vitae.
Not vitae. I'm always just going curriculum vitae.
Yeah, that does not sound Latin. I feel like my way sounds more Latin than your way. Yeah, so we're going to be talking about what a CV is, what recruitment managers are looking for, and just giving you tips on how to write or structure a CV.
Amen.
Or professionals.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I've always said a CV is a way for you to market yourself and possibly nail that interview, right? So it's not just a document about what you've done, where you've worked, where you went to school.
Key to the door.
Yes, it is that key to fully get, or like that one chance, that key to get in that interview and having that.
To open the door,
Yes.
yeah.
So what is your understanding of a CV?
More or
Since
less.
you've been on the receiving end even.
Since I've been on the receiving end, more or less what you're saying, basically is that thing, what is it that's on that CV that would make me want to meet you?
Yeah.
And
true.
to know more about you. Yeah.
So it's very important. It's a very important document. And so we're going to give you tips on how to structure it, and make it more appealing, because it's very important for how the HR manager or the recruitment manager perceives it. Yes.
True. That is so true.
Yes. So what are the common mistakes that you've seen that people make when submitting a CV or when structuring a CV, rather?
Love letter.
Yeah. I've seen those. I was a manager, so I was also at some point at the receiving end of CVs. So you'd find people that come with the baby, and then you sometimes you think it's an advantage to have a heavy CV.
Yes.
Well, not literally.
Yes.
I feel like it's an advantage to have a heavy CV, like when it comes to the qualifications, the skills that you've done, but don't come with a 5-page CV. Nobody wants to go through that.
Okay, because now you're dealing with an unemployed employee. I haven't been in the job market for a long time. I don't know if things have changed. I have been on the receiving end of CVs, but I've never actually sent mine out in a long time. Okay. What are your expectations? What do you want to see in a CV?
Okay, so I know what not to highlight, the things that should not be there. Like you said, a CV should not be that long, right? So I have ideas on how to structure your CV to not make it too lengthy. And later on, we are also going to be talking about skills to add on your CV to make it heavy, but not literally, of course, but like skills and certificates that you can actually get from Google that are credited that you can put on your CV as skills and experience, and just basically skills on which you can do this, like computer skills. You don't have to go to university or college anymore to get those. You can actually get those for free on Google, but we'll talk about those later.
Okay.
Yes. So so that's why I was saying it's very important to be clear, mostly about your skills, your abilities, and all of that. Right?
So what? So basically, when you're saying clear, do we put it the old-fashioned way where I would put my name, my surname, my gender, how many kids I have, do I have a driver's license, the religion, what church I go to, and
So I read somewhere, Uguti, literally, a recruitment manager has approximately 6 seconds to go through your CV.
Okay.
So imagine you are a recruitment manager and you get a full box of CVs. You don't have time to be going through all of those. But so what I'm going to help you understand is how to structure your CV to make the things that need to stand out.
Okay.
Yes.
What are those things? Let's hear.
So, for example, I always emphasize on this contact details. So the first one is contact details. So
Not
contact
one,
detail. So just one of it. Yeah. So contact details should always be at the top of the page, so that if they want you back, they don't have to go to page 5 to find your numbers or your email address. Yes. So if you put your contact details up front, then that makes it more appealing.
True.
Yes. So I've seen a lot of mistakes that people make as Uti Marapala, the personal details, also your name, your surname, disability, all of that. And then towards the end, that's when you add your contact details.
Is it important to put your disability and gender?
Yes. I find that important. Explain that to us.
Well, okay, with regards to me, sometimes I feel good if you state these things, you might be discriminated against. But if you don't state them as well, you're not disclosing. So, like I said, I haven't been in the job market for the longest time. But then for me, I would appreciate if someone did state if they have a disability and what it is, so we can work around it. Because, but then it also depends on who's at the receiving end of your CV.
Because we do still have, in this day and age, we do still have discriminating jobs that, of course, they can't put OT. We are looking for only a female.
Yes.
They don't do that anymore. Yes. But the person at the receiving
end, you can be
end,
discriminated against because of your gender or your disability or whatever other, your age as well. You can be discriminated against. Yes,
that's true.
All right.
So that's the first one. I feel like that should be the first one that's very appealing for the recruitment manager. It's your contact details, your name, your phone number, your email address, your alternative number as well. And your alternative number should
I have struggled with that one where I'm calling and they're not answering.
Your alternative number
sometimes they are even hired. It's not even about the interview. They are hired. You want to tell them when they're supposed to start, and all of a sudden maybe they lost their phone. They don't have your phone.
Exactly.
They don't even know that you've called them and you've been trying to call. There is no alternative number is important.
You know what they do these days? So our phone number, they have 2 SIM cards.
Yes.
So first number yakhe kuzoba phone number ka SIM 1, and then the second number is phone number ka SIM 2.
I'd rather have a second phone.
Don't
put
do
your
that.
mother, brother, someone.
Put
they'll
your
pass
relative,
on the message.
put your friend, put someone that you obviously can trust to deliver the message. You will say, hey girl, you've received the job, or you have an interview or whatnot.
Yes, that's so true.
So that's very important. And the second point that I like to emphasize on is personal information. So personal information is sort of your personal branding statement, just an overall about your career, like the path that you've traveled, just a summary of that. Of course, not a love letter, maybe 2-3 lines.
And if you don't have that and you have never been employed, it's also okay not to put. It's something that people must understand. People always assume, that's why sometimes people lie in their CVs, because they see which is CV, but it's one page. Empty, you don't have to lie. If you don't have work experience, sometimes they like you like that with no experience. You're a blank page that can be taught anything. So a cup exactly, a cup waiting to be filled. So you must never ever think, if you've got the experience, put it. If you don't.
Yes, okay, that's very important. Okay, and then my number 3 is skills.
Yes.
Right. So that's what we mentioned. So I saw Oguti, most people add only the soft skills. Mostly people, especially people that don't have work experience. So Muntu Zofaga, the soft skills. And soft skills are usually like your communication skills, your team working skills, customer service skills, So it's very important. If you've worked before, add your soft skills. Also add your hard skills. And your hard skills are just skills that are specific to the careers that you've worked.
Like your degree?
Yes.
Your statement of results? Yes.
Well, I feel like that's achievement.
Oh, yeah, that is achievement.
Yeah, and qualifications.
Right. Yeah.
So hard skills, example of hard skills would be, let's say you've been a manager before. Your managerial skills.
Oh, okay.
Such things. Just, or basically, to sum it up, like things that you've done. Your job description, your previous job description could be the skills that you've acquired. Yes, you can put those skills there. Yes. And then number 4 is work experience, right? So in the work experience, and I always say this, And I always see people making this mistake, right? So your work experience should be in chronological reverse order, right? So meaning
Hey, yes, tell my manje chronic. What?
Hey,
Please speak English,
I'm
please.
so that means Uguti, your latest work experience must be at the top.
Okay.
And then obviously just going down.
Okay.
Like sort of like anti-clockwise.
Okay.
Yes. So start with your latest one.
Okay.
Your latest
my
previous
last job. Okay.
Yes. Man.
Okay.
Start with that one.
Okay.
And then going down, of course, right? And then the first two.
Do I have to put the duration with regards to?
Yes, you
okay,
can
in
do
that
that.
order.
So the format that I've used is obviously you write your year, your duration, the name of the organization, the position, and achievements. Okay, so I'll explain the difference between achievements and responsibilities later. But the reason why it's important to put them in chronological order, it makes it easier for the recruitment manager, right?
Okay.
And the two latest ones, that's when you can actually get to add Uguti, these are the achievements, these are the things that I've achieved for the company, such things. Yes.
Okay.
So the difference between achievements and responsibilities. Yeah, I always say put achievements, not responsibilities. So responsibilities is what your job description says. So it's what everyone else can do.
Yes.
Right? Yes. So achievements, if you put achievements are what you've done for the company.
Okay.
You know, the things that made you stand out.
Okay.
You know, and those are the things that can be a liability or an asset an asset for that company. So if a person goes through that, I'd say, wow, this person. And achievements are not even like, it doesn't have to be like your certificate or what, but like saving costs, if you saved costs for that other company, if you've introduced such thing A, B, C, D, and E, include those. Because what are we doing? We are selling ourselves.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, no, that's so true because now if you, in terms of, according to how I'm understanding it, but correct me if I'm wrong, in terms of achievements, when you are putting what you have achieved, because now if you're putting your JD or your skills, what I've come to realize, people have a standard CV where they send out to, but then Utologuti, in terms of when the job is advertised, right, they put a scope with regards to what the job entails. Sometimes you do know what they're talking about. It's just that they put it in different wording and stuff that.
Yes.
So that always, the JD, the skills, it always changes according to the position and the company that you're applying to.
Yes.
So it's not exactly the same, but your achievements will remain the same because it's what you have done.
I actually Googled that. So that's going to be under the skills that you've done, right?
Yes.
So I saw Oguti, like what you're saying, Manju, which is very important for people to change that according to the job that they're applying for, right?
Yeah.
Because I saw there's a lot of companies are not receiving paper CVs anymore.
A paper.
So you're applying online and then they have a software, it's called
days.
ATS software. Yeah. So with that ATS software, so it only picks up the keywords that are required.
Yes.
So if your CV only has the skill sets that you applied for, AKFC, this is what you can do. You can fly, you can do this. For example, don't drag me. So if it only has that, and then for example you're applying for a corporate company, it's important to go through what they are looking for, and then try implementing that into the CV, and then use those keywords that they're using as well, just for that your CV can be highlighted. Otherwise, they'll just discard it, honey.
Okay.
Yes.
Clear.
And then, of course, my number 5 is your qualifications. Also, very emphasis on that because, like, that's where you are selling yourself with, you know what? I have a PhD. I am schooled. I am education. Yes. So you do that. Yeah, exactly. So you don't have to add, I went to primary, Vugani primary school. No, you don't have to do that.
Okay.
Yes, add qualifications
now.
Yes, especially
it's like I've got a matric. Exactly. I went to university.
Exactly.
Oh, I went to college.
If it's qualifications that are detrimental to the position that you're applying for.
Okay. Yes. All right.
Detrimental.
I don't know.
And then additional information. Yeah, that's my number 6. To get additional information, that's where you get to answer questions before they ask you questions.
Okay.
Yes. So that's when you also get to add your certificate, your
the extra,
metric certificate, all of those skills that you've done, your achievements, qualifications. That's where you get to add those. Yes. So that's my idea of how to structure a CV.
So now, when you're sending your CV via email, right? What I want to know from you, Uguti, because I'm getting a hard copy, right? It's all my copies, and then I staple them together and I put them in an envelope and I send them through, right? And then when it comes to email, do I just scan everything together and it's a one-pager, or is it CV, and then I label it, and then with my attachments, and then it's qualifications, then I label it, and then it's my soft skills, and then I label it,
Okay.
and then it's my ID copy, then I label it.
What I would do, the simplest way, is just to scan your original CV and your documents,
All
make
in
it
one.
one document.
Okay.
Yes, so you can make it
PDF.
PDF. Yes, or other companies require you to send them your CV via, like, if it's a Word document.
Yes.
Yes, so you find that. So make it one document, then put it through, and then when you get to the email, you don't just put your email address
Yes.
and their email address and send.
Yes.
No, you have to put on your subject line.
Yes.
What terrible subject lines have you seen?
Yeah. First, it's not even about the subject lines, because normally I always just tell people, because it's not only you. Always put your name, and that's even how I structure my emails right now. Anything to do with me, my name, my surname. Then I put that hyphen thing, and then I put my ID number and sort of like the date.
Yeah, that's very long as well. So I feel like a subject line is very important for the person in the receiving end. Gail is receiving so many emails.
But I want you to know my name.
I understand. Yes. So Bega, you are receiving so many emails.
Yeah.
So it's very important to subject line yako even specific to what you want from me.
But my name must be there, isn't it?
You can add your name, but you can add your name also in the tagline. Good day, my name is Moesha Scotty, and I am applying. I'm writing to express my interest in this.
I thought you had to put your name on the subject line, because if you're searching, then you can find me.
You can do okay. That's one tip. Okay, I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know about that.
You can find me when you're searching there.
Okay.
The only other thing that I had an issue with, aside, with the subject line, I don't really have issue. It's the email addresses. Someone will call themselves Bunny Chow. And then you saw the CV, they send the CV, Bunny Chow at what.
You use your mixed names.
Just give us a clue in your email. Exactly. This is who you are. Or when you're searching for, sometimes, there's a whole lot of emails, right? And then this person is sent through their email. Just to search, please just try, man. Your email address must have something, your name, surname, it's something.
So when job hunting, it's very important to be professional.
Not these Bunny Chow 001 emails. No, please.
I've actually seen those. I have seen those. So that's a terrible thing. Yes. But I feel like that wraps up our CV section.
Yes. Do
you have anything else to add?
Not really. But then remember, these are continuous conversations that we'll be having as well. And please, people, listen, learn, engage
on the comment section.
If you want to add on something, if we didn't say something correctly, if you were, but I'm rusty. I haven't been in the job market for a long time.
Rusty, but there's a lot of things that I don't know as well. So fill my cup.
Please just let us know as well. And then that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So our next segment, we are going to be getting into the diaries
of the unemployed employee. With regards to the unemployed...
How long has it been? Oh my gosh, how long has it been?
It is exactly 1 month. This is the first week of December, right?
Yes.
It's the first week of December. Are you sure?
No, it's the second.
Yeah, it's the second week of December. So then it is exactly 1 month, 2 weeks of unemployed and happy still.
How you feeling?
Shine.
How you feel?
Good. So, however, what I did is, remember I told you, Uguti, I want to start a business, right? Instead of looking for a job first, but I will be applying and before I look for a job. So in terms of that, with regards to the company that I want to open, I have to register the company, right?
Important.
So then I went to CPAC, CIPC.
What's that?
All right. Okay. Let's see. This is what Google says. It's Companies and Intellectual Property Commission. Okay. CIPC. So I went.
What do they do?
So basically, that's where you register your business. I went there to register. Initially, people said I must go to Pretoria, and I was like, "Yo, Pretoria!" I didn't know there was one in Johannesburg. And then someone said,
"I've heard rumors about that, which you can only register your company in one place, and it's so expensive."
No, it's not expensive. Someone said they can register for me. I've never registered a business before, so I have no background whatsoever in terms of registering any business. So someone said to me, Uguti, registration is about 3,000 something to register a company. There's someone that can do it for me in terms of the tax documents and all those things, and it's in Pretoria, right? But then, hey, Pella, most when you're unemployed, every cent counts, Pella.
Yeah, true.
So then I went and I found out myself that no, you can actually register here because I'm based in Johannesburg. That there is, because, someone said Carlton Center. I went to Carlton Center. Then it's not in Carlton Center. It's in town though. I'll give you the address later on. And then
Link it down below.
yeah. And then when I got there, the system was offline. We all know what's happening in our country with regards to load shedding. You know, most when the power comes back, I think it affects everyone. But the security, they were very nice. They told me, no, you don't have to be here physically. You can do these things online. Right. You must just have 3 names. So I must think of 3 company names that I must Google, do my homework, make sure no one is using those names. 3 names. After finding my 3 names, but then I register those 3 names. And then I think I have to pay 175. But then I'll explain the whole process when I start doing it online. But the unemployed employee has not just been sitting around. The unemployed employee is trying to register her business. So it's the 3 names that I'm looking. Yeah. So it's the 3 names that I'll be. I'm trying to figure out what it is. And then another thing as well, while we were on that, with regards to myself and my business partner, I came to realize that, the only thing that we had in mind was we're going to register that business. We didn't think in terms of the percentages, we didn't think
is
as
that
far.
important?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Oh. In terms of how we're going to share our profits, it's very, very important. The type of business that we want to open. The security guys, it's one of the things that, they gave us a highlight on Gucci. You discussed Gucci, it's the 3 names. The type of business that you guys want to open, is the profit, non-profit, enterprise, whatever, a partnership. And then another thing, memorandum of understanding is very important as well with regards to our profit sharing, so we can discuss all these other specific things to put in our, because now if we just go into business and we're not clear, we're going to see 50-50 what. And another thing as well, after registering, we have to go open a bank account. But then it's something good to you guys will be with us on our journey. Yes. A partner Yami, as we're trying to figure this thing out. He has registered a business before, so at least he's got more experience. But then with me, with no experience as well, I'm not willing to just take what someone else is saying to me. I want to see for myself. Uguti, this is how it's done. Like I said,
because you'll pay 3.5.
Yeah. I nearly did that. So, but in any case, nothing eventful with regards to the unemployed employee for this week. Next week, I'm hoping to give you guys more positive feedback with regards to how it goes on with the online registration and if I've succeeded, and then hoping then I can announce my new company name and what we do. Fingers crossed. Stay tuned.
Okay, I feel like that wraps up everything.
Yes, it does.
Yes. So thank you for staying in tune with us. Thank you for staying. I hope this becomes your second home soon.
Yes, I hope. And then if there's any topics that you want us to talk about as well, please comment. Please. And don't forget to on our socials, check the links below.
Yes.
So I hope I said that correctly.
But be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and just share.
Yes.
Yeah, share so that the next person can receive this information. Yes. So
because in life, surely
this is it.
Peace.
Thank you.